What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I am Sean the Storm Grant, hashtag stormpinball, and I'm going to do another reaction today. This one will be for Marlon Craft's State of the Union. I haven't heard this song yet. A lot of people have recommended it to me, and the way I found out about it was that YouTube recommended a video of Ari Melber on his MSNBC show talking about this song and actually interviewing Marlon Craft. And I'll put a link to that in the description. So I have an idea of what the song's about. I have an idea of what the artist is about. But I deliberately didn't hear the song because I wanted to give you a pure reaction. So I do know about the song, but I haven't heard it yet. And I know that it's about a very important issue. And I am a huge fan of protest raps and message raps and socially conscious rap music. That's why I'll soon have my Public Enemy top 25 list. I might even make it a top 50 because I think Public Enemy has made so many great songs. I'm actually surprised that we aren't seeing more socially conscious songs based on the fact that so much is going on in our country right now. I thought Little Baby's song was the best song of the year. It was really meaningful and very well written. I think there's a lot of subject matter right now for socially conscious rappers to work with. So let's take a look at Marlon Craft's State of the Union, and I'll give you my honest opinion.
The union is that there isn't one. If a house divided can't stand, we been sitting, but sitting officials letting you starve and die. They say for a party, I say it's dogma to America's awful lie. Sniffing the party line, intoxicated from white, that fake superiority.
Well, the first reaction I have is you have two guys in the back there holding the American flag upside down, because right now there are a lot of people that feel ashamed of what's been going on in this country, from the storming of the Capitol to the politics that have been so divisive and so damaging to this country and to its people. I try not to be overly political, but I think that in the last few years it's been impossible to be that way, because it's not a question of policy, it's a question of right and wrong, and a question of people being turned into a cult, people being brainwashed, the use of mind control on a large amount of people, and having them do things that don't make sense and that are violent and that are definitely disruptive and negative to our country. And I don't think that I'm going out on a limb by saying that. And I've been very disturbed by a lot of the events that have taken place in the last year. And I've mentioned it on my channel, and I think people know where I stand. But I think that the goal for a lot of people like myself is to not be political, because we just want to live our lives. But we're forced to. And we realize that the problems that have been created, the dangerous elements of our society that have been weaponized, will not go away on their own. They have to be dealt with directly. And people talk about a civil war. Nobody wants that. But at the same time, laws need to be enforced. It's not good for anybody to have anarchy or dangerous, violent, armed groups doing things against democracy. So again, none of this is a bombshell that I'm dropping. But the fact that there's been a lot of resistance to dealing with these problems directly, to handling the situation the way it needs to be handled, is scary, because we can't be afraid to face these problems, and we can't be afraid to enforce basic laws that we have. So we'll continue with this song. I know what it's about to some extent. The house divided is a bar that he used. It's a quote from Abraham Lincoln: "A house divided cannot stand." That's something that's extremely topical and meaningful right now. We shall continue. Let's hear it. And I also noticed his voice. It's one of those voices that's kind of surprising when you look at him, but it's very powerful. I enjoy listening to him. I like the fact that his delivery is very clear, because he has a message that he wants to get across, and you don't miss a word. It's also good that he has the lyrics on the bottom, because, again, he's trying to get a message across. So that's a very smart way to go.
Created by authority to convince the parts he still one cast up. Cause at least you not black, and if at least you not that, then if you seen got mad that the elite on backs of your labor, you point at your neighbor instead of up to keep you off track. They told you your sins weren't sins, but beneath that hatred is shame. Your humanity was picked and sold with the cotton of slave. System is fucked, we benefit passively. White liberals and such make a social identity from giving a fuck, but that privilege they may acknowledge, they ain't giving it up. We ain't living it much, the ego's driving the car, and it just depends on where it got its license. How many of us really choose our own thoughts and vices? You don't get paid, but you're a walking advertisement, made us all addicted to fame so that we work for free.
Making a social identity by caring, I'll paraphrase. It's been a challenge for a lot of people, and I mentioned it earlier, how people like myself, I'll just speak for myself, we want to get involved, we want to make sure everyone knows where we stand, and we're not trying to do it for props. We're not trying to do it for juice. We're doing it because it's important. It's very important for me, for people to know that I'm not saying any of the things that I say because I'm looking for approval. I'm saying it because it's important to me. And so that battle for authenticity has been something that a lot of people have been challenged by, because the internet's environment, social media's environment is such that there are a lot of fake people, and I don't want to be thought of as one, but I think that people know that what I'm saying is honest. It's crazy because when I speak out against something that I dislike, it's just because I think it's important, and I'm not looking for any gold medals for it. I actually say the things I say to let other people know that there are people that feel this way. And if you don't agree with me, it's absolutely fine, because that's what our country is supposed to be about. But there are a lot of things that are going on, like I mentioned before, the brainwashing of people, turning them into a cult, turning into conspiracy theory believing zombies, is something that's very scary. And again, it needs to be dealt with directly. It shouldn't be a political move for people to treat other people this way.
Factless cause their schools ain't teach them how to find them. If they get to choose, they pick the ones that their wants align with. Can you track your opinion to its origin? If not, I then we move without intent. They profit when we not decisive. Rappers been lazily referencing the Matrix for years. Who knew algorithms would really dictate what we cheer? Too lazy to care, afraid to look inward. We live in our own noose, for we live in our own truth. Fake tweets about how you love everyone. You won't even wear a mask to save somebody's grandmother. Entitled to the lies of freedom, you in denial. I seen this shit for a while, it's lethal, man, word to Dan Glover.
There's so much packed into each lyric, each bar, that this is probably a song that I'm going to need to listen to multiple times before I get the full effect of it. But it's powerful, and it is concentrated knowledge that he's dropping here, and he's very serious about what he's saying. He's not just talking about this country politically, he's talking about socially. The brainwashing of people wasn't just for political reasons, it was for economic reasons. It was to get people to consume things. It was to get people to think certain ways to make them easier to control. And that isn't just used for political uses, it's for economic uses as well. It's really important for songs like this to openly address these issues and get them spoken about, because a lot of times I believe that songs like this contain thoughts that people are thinking on their own, to themselves, and to start a conversation between people to talk about these things, I think, is extremely important. So I'm really enjoying this song, even though it's very tough to listen to in terms of its subject matter.
You can't fake lightning, but you can plan thunder. Pay a racist brand before we pay attention. I sit in damn wonder. Yeah. And everyone talking generational wealth, but outside making money for ourselves. We won't give the next generation no help. May already be too late to save the fucking planet. If we don't stop playing, there won't be no more generations to help. We train people for survival of the fittest in traumatic conditions and sold them things that kill them. We made life into a gamble in the name of capitalism, then tried to hit the democracy switch when COVID hit, and now it's destined to fail. You can't abuse populations, leave them destitute and vacant, and then ask them to care about anything but their next move. Our own nation to blame, so I get why we at the club. Still, I ain't say I'm not enraged, I want better from us. I just don't expect it. Trauma is cyclical.
Yeah, so this isn't solely about politics. This is about the entire social system that we have, our entire way of life. And it's a lot for him to take on in one song. So it's a very courageous move. The one thing about having a sweeping analysis is that it doesn't go into too many specifics. So hopefully he could do that in future songs where he can tackle one subject at a time. Because, again, going back to Public Enemy, they would do a song about 911. They would do a song about how alcohol is promoted to black youth differently than other demographics. And that adds power to the message. This is an excellent broad stroke and sweeping analysis, but I hope that in future songs he can talk about each of these points in more detail. Also, I haven't heard a hook yet, and I think that would make this song more powerful and memorable. Right now it has 572,000 views, so it's definitely been successful for an independent artist. He wrote this, I heard this in the interview, which again the link will be in the description section. He wrote this song and released it, I think, the day that the Capitol was stormed. So he doesn't mention that because it hadn't happened yet, but he describes the environment that led up to it.
Most likely ones to neglect other neglected. They have future selling you Molly lean Percocet, and you think for a check they need a scheme on vaccine injections. A lot of the soft bigotry of low expectations, a lot of fetishization, celebrating regressive themes in the name of progression. And when something truly powerful comes, it's hesitation.
Trauma is cyclical. That's a good line. And he's had a bunch of them throughout. He's had just a lyric, like a 5-word sentence that just hits hard throughout. And he should try to capitalize on those, I think, a little bit better. But this is the style that he's going with. It's a lot of power shooting at you like a laser, basically.
And there's this fishy correlation between what's considered cool and what profits for corporations. Rappers streaming tens of mils considered not as poppin', cause on their next endeavor, no labor loan's an option. So vacancy across the culture. So when they say they do it for it, man, I gotta wonder. The only culture is validate wins and win equals money. Truths like my chest in 06 is beneath with a rugby. I don't even like talking this direct. I ain't no book report ass rapper, but I object.
He just hit the record industry right there. He's going after everybody. This is like I said, it's a broad statement about a lot of different things that affect what he does, his life. So it's coming from him. It's definitely personal, but he's also talking about our society as a whole.